Good morning, everybody. Eric here. Today is day 16 of 90, and I have just completed my 2-mile walk. I'm pretty excited. I finished it pretty quick today. I don't have the exact time in my head right now. I've been thinking quite a bit before I started recording this, because today I want to tell you guys a story about my 20s. I've told you guys about my life and in my earlier years and in my teens, and now today I want to get into the life and times of Eric Keyser in his 20s, and this is probably going to be one of the toughest stories to tell that I've told so far. I don't really talk about it much. I don't like to talk about it. It was a really bad time in my life. It hurts to talk about it. It's difficult, so forgive me if I stutter and stagger and pause and whatnot. But anyways, as you heard a little bit in my story of my teens, my teens were pretty rough years. That's when I got heavy into drugs. Ran away from home, came back to home, moved out again. And my late teens, early 20s were probably the toughest years. I was living what I thought was an excellent, great life, having the time of my life, smoking crack, sniffing coke, doing acid, doing ecstasy, traveling all over the place. I had a child in my early 20s, and on into early mid 20s. I had some, my child's mom wound up moving to the beach, and I was actually traveling down there to visit a girl and to see my son and spend time with, I'm gonna say it, a married woman, which I'm not proud of. She was separated, but they weren't divorced, and I spent a lot of time with her, and obviously we know how that went. That didn't work out too well. Like I said, I'm not proud of the things I did back then. I thought I was having the time of my life, and life was great, and I look back on these things now, and I think I think to myself, what the hell was I doing? So obviously that relationship didn't last. The good thing was, I was able to spend time with my son. I told you guys before, I had my girlfriend before wound up getting pregnant, and I didn't find out she was pregnant till after we broke up. We broke up because I caught her sleeping around. I believe I've stated that before as well. With that said, I was going to spend time with my son while he was at the beach, and then she wound up moving back, and she was living here, and then we had some issues where, I wanted to pay child support, but she wouldn't go file papers. My name's not on the birth certificate, so there wasn't really anything I could do. She had to go downtown and make those things happen, and she just wouldn't do it. So, I bought my son. I thought he was my son because he looked just like me, but there was no 100% that he was my son. We had, she was sleeping around, and it was funny though, because I remember the first time I saw him, I knew it was my child. I knew. It was just this instinct. I could see it in him. I could feel it. I could feel it in my heart. And, but, so I did whatever I had to make sure he was taken care of. I provided her with diapers, food, money for gas, car repairs, clothes, whatever my son needed, I provided. And I never gave her cash, never gave her money. I always bought her essential items, and I kept receipts. And honestly, it was the smartest thing I could have done, because she ended up taking me to court and trying to sue me for child support, and that that backfired on her. I wound up bringing in an envelope full of receipts for everything that I bought her for a year, and basically the judge said nope, he doesn't have to pay anything, and required her to pay back all the money she was getting for assistance, because he could clearly see that I was doing what needed to be done to be taking care of the child. So with that said, he actually ended up court ordering a paternity test to determine if the child was mine or not, because my name was not on the birth certificate. And then I got put into the system in Johnston County and was required to pay child support on a monthly basis. So needless to say, the paternity test came 99.9%. 99.9. Yes, you heard that correctly. So he was my child. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. So the fun stuff began. I was paying child support. I had a few times when I couldn't pay. I was in and out of jobs, but for the most part, I kept up with my child support. I never got more than a month behind. Except one time when I got a month behind because I was struggling with some money. And I remember going to court in Johnston County, and the judge was having a very bad day. And was actually very upset and frustrated because there were people in there that owed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in child support. And they were running their mouth and talking trash and doing what deadbeats do, and just making this judge more and more angry. And I was just sitting there shaking my head, thinking to myself, I hope to God I don't ever get like that. I don't understand why anybody would not want to take care of their child. I really don't. But to each his own. We all think differently. So when it was my time, I'm thinking he's going to go up there, slap me on the wrist, make me pay. But he was in such a bad mood, he wanted me to pay right then, or he was going to put me in jail for 30 days. And of course, I questioned him why he would do that, and he got mad, and bam, spent 30 days in jail. So I ended up being 2 months behind, and that was not fun. That was terrible, actually. I'd been in jail many times, but I'd never been in jail for child support, and I felt terrible. I felt like a deadbeat. I felt like somebody who couldn't take care of their child. I was like, what kind of person am I? And but I got out. I did my 30 days. I got out. Lost my job that I had because of that. I had to find another job, and I had 30 days to pay 3 months of child support. And I made it happen. So it made me feel better. Did what had to be done. And then into my mid-20s, I went and did something really stupid. Really, really stupid. I wound up committing a crime. It's pretty heinous, pretty bad. And to this day, I regret it. I'll regret it for the rest of my life, but I also believe it changed who I am as a person. If I start crying, I'm sorry, guys. This is tough. It changed who I am as a person in whole. I wound up doing something that shouldn't be done, and the toughest part about it is I actually didn't even realize I was doing it when it happened, and it wasn't until the next day I realized what happened. And I I hurt some people. I hurt a lot of people. But I'm sorry, guys. I wound up spending quite a bit of time in jail. I hurt a lot of family. I hurt a lot of loved ones. And I think this whole incident pretty much changed who I was right then and there. I guess the positive thing about the whole thing is my wife, who I'm with now, her and I had just started dating when all this happened. We had been together maybe 3 months. And she stuck through me through the whole thing. She stood by my side. She was there for me when I needed it. I wound up doing quite a bit of time in jail, and wound up getting put on some intensive probation for 5 years, and then got in trouble with some drugs while I was on probation. Wound up having to do some more jail time. Almost had my probation revoked. My wife stuck with me through it all. Obviously, she wasn't my wife at the time, and if you've listened to my stories before, she's still not my wife. Just, we've been together for, this July will be 21 years. It's insane to think about it. July 13th, first day we ever met. It's a happy memory. I'll spit that out, put a smile on my face. But so throughout my time on probation and some other stuff, I actually wound up getting pretty heavy into some crack, and wound up having a talk with my wife about it. Asked her for help, and I thought she was going to leave me. I thought she was going to turn me into my probation officer, have me thrown in jail, leave me, and that was going to be the end of my life. I was going to lose my child I had at the time. He was 2, 3 at the time, and I would have never seen him again if that happened. But I asked her for help, and I practically begged her. I begged her with everything in me to help me, so that I could become a different person and not lose my child, and not lose her, and not lose my life. And I honestly believe the decision she made that day is the only reason why I'm still here today. If it was not for her decision to stand by me and to help me through the struggles I was having, I would either be in prison for the rest of my life or dead right now. I honestly, truly believe that. So, if you ever see this video, honey, I love you. I love you more than anything you can know. No matter what we go through, no matter what happens, I'll always love you, because if it was not for you, I would not be here today. I would not have you or the 2 lovely children we have right now. I would not have this beautiful property we live on. I wouldn't have anything. I'd be dead inside, or I'd be dead, period. So I thank you. And basically, between my wife, my mom, and her mom, we wrote a contract. And in that contract, it stated that I would give my wife my paycheck every week for an entire year, and I would touch no money at all. And it was a tough year. It was a really tough year. Even if I needed $1 or $3 for a pack of cigarettes, she would not give them to me. She would not give me the money. She'd go buy me. She sacrificed her life for a year in my eyes to help me. She sacrificed her life for a year to help me. And I'm so grateful for that. So grateful for that. So, sorry. Moving on. It's a tough one, guys. I told you. My 20s was a rough life. I've mentioned briefly before, and my wife, she wound up getting pregnant. And during this pregnancy, she wound up having a miscarriage. And I remember having to physically remove the fetus from the toilet and put it in a bag and take it to the hospital with us to make sure we weren't going crazy. And sure enough, it tested positive for a fetus. We were told we lost the baby. And then they sent her to ultrasound to make sure everything was okay, and x-rays and all that stuff they do to check on women. And they basically said that she didn't lose the baby, that we were still pregnant. And we were like, what? No, they confirmed that we lost the baby. And they were like, nope, you still have a baby. And they showed us, and we were confused. We were like, what the heck's going on? So come to find out, we would have had fraternal twins. So that was a shock. That was painful, because we found out that we were going to have twins, and we had lost one. It's hard to explain the emotional roller coaster you go through in a situation like that. The grief, yet the excitement and the joy that runs through your body is very difficult to manage, because you want to grieve for one, but you're excited about the other. And then that was just the beginning, man. When at 5.5 months, my wife went into labor, and Melody Angel was born. It was October of 2003. And she was just barely a pound. Not even. I think she was 11 ounces. And her skin was transparent. You could see through. I don't want to say transparent, translucent. You could see through her skin and see all her insides pretty much. And her lungs weren't fully developed. And the doctors basically told us there was nothing they could do. And 3 hours later, Melody Angel died. And that was hard. That was a hard thing to deal with. We never got to see our little girl grow up. And today she'd be 18 years old. She'd be 18 years old today. I'm sorry, guys. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. But she looks down on us every day now. She looks after us. We honestly believe that she looks out for us and she takes care of us. So it was a year later. Sorry, my video is getting kind of long, guys. I may wind up cutting my 20s into 2 different videos, but because this is hard, and I actually got to get going to work, and I don't want to go to work looking like a mess. So I think I will finish the video here. I'm sorry, it's a bad place to stop a video, but I will end the video with this. I'm in a much better place now with my life. I thank myself for the changes I'm making. I thank my wife for standing next to me in times of need when she could have left. She didn't have to stay. And I thank my daughter, Melody, for looking out for us every day. With that said, guys, today's day 16 of 90, complete of my walk 2 miles every day for 90 challenge. I will come back with the second half of my 20s story later. Y'all have a wonderful day.